It's the Exit 52 podcast presented by Jimmy Seafood. Back here on a Monday night, Taylor, Banks, Arditti. I have a hard time not laughing at the beginning of every show because we just dance to the intro music in our little boxes, and I can always see Brian doing his thing in the little box. So that's why I feel like I like half chuckle every time I
try not to laugh when we get live here, and then just I feel like Taylor's getting extra goofy with it tonight. So he threw the mime up there. He threw the
I started hitting the mime. That's good radio. Fellas, how are we doing?
Tired. Oh, he's tired.
Oh
boy.
Always tired. Very tired.
I'm tired.
Good though.
My fingers hurt.
My fingers hurt. But we're heading into like this very nice spot of sports with like the draft is going to be coming up. March Madness, the conference tournament starting. I mean, Selection Sunday is less than 2 weeks away. Like
good 2 weeks of golf here, plus full swing coming in at the end of the week. You got Bay Hill, you got the players, then you got a couple duds, and then you got you know what.
Mm-hmm. But when you have the couple duds, college basketball takes you through those weekends.
Correct.
So you don't really even think about what's going on golf-wise.
We lost the match play, though.
That is true. But you're right, Arditti. It is a nice kind of like couple months of sports coming up here through the NBA and NHL playoffs, baseball beginning, all the different things happening. Obviously, we will be out at the Jimmy Seafood Tailgate on opening day. Get the plug in for that quickly. Tickets still available, RDT, I would presume. Tickets not available.
Sold out today.
They're extremely not available today.
Wow, did not see that. There you go. Breaking news.
We can pull the plug now.
On the Exit 52
For
podcast.
those coming, we're excited to see you, but if you're not,
sorry about it. Hope you can see us after. Maybe we'll find people after, but you can no longer come to this event.
Don't try to get secondary tickets. You'll get scammed.
Yep. They only can buy through them. So there you go. No need. Come to the people that are coming. Get ready for a great time. That's all I'll say. Get ready for a great time.
Is the menu out yet?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Already?
If you guys want to keep talking, I can pull it up.
Oh, let's talk about the menu.
Yeah, let's talk about the menu. It's funny you say that because the yearly thing where everyone gets excited that the Masters does the Taste for the Masters happen today because they put it on sale. And everyone gets excited for it like it's a new thing. It's like 7 years old now.
Yeah. My notification from the Masters, my Twitter notification came through when I was on the phone today, and I was like, well, I'm sure I'll get off the phone and somebody will have texted about this in our group chats, and no one did. And I was like, well, that's when it's just kind of lost its luster.
Yeah.
But still, we never did it. I want to do it.
We could do it this year. We'll talk offline about that one.
Which package? The one to get the cookies and the caramel popcorn?
I think if you're gonna do it, you might as well just go all the way. Like I just think you do it. I think you do it that way. Now, I don't know how many people we would get interested in actually participating. So maybe the 4 to 6 makes more sense for what we would do. But I just think you would just go all out. Now, as someone that's had the food on the ground itself, this is really
the best chocolate chip cookie in my life.
Really not my decision. Oh, you as well.
Right.
Oh, I had Clubhouse food, Taylor. I didn't have.
That is true. You didn't have Patreon
snack stand food.
Yeah, the $3 food. RDT, do you have the menu for us?
Presenting the menu for the tailgate, and you can also hear. We talked about it with Mike, Jake, and I on one of the interviews we did a couple weeks ago. They are serving the Reuben carved corned beef served on rye bread with sauerkraut, Swiss cheese, Jimmy's famous fry sauce. The Krabby Dog, an all-beef hot dog topped with crab dip and Old Bay, of course. Loaded brats, pita tier sausage, peppers, onions, all in on dog sauce, whatever that is. Grilled barbecue ribs, buffalo's wings, capital O. Crab cake, egg rolls, of course. Loaded mac and cheese bites. Raw bar, freshly shucked raw oysters, clams, courtesy of JJ McDonald. I think Frank's Pizza is going to be there. A couple other big ones, but yeah, it's my mouth is watering just trying to like.
The Reuben is as oh my goodness gracious, as a Reuben connoisseur myself. My goodness, I cannot wait for that. Wow,
yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm gonna get my money's worth just on food, not even like alcohol. Probably alcohol, but just food.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely going to do that as well. Wow, that sounds great. All right, well, there's your promo for the people that have already bought tickets. Once again, if you have not, you're out of luck. You had more than enough time to get them, so sorry about it. Today on this episode, we're going to chat a little Orioles starting pitching preview, which has some moving parts to it, but a continuation of our positional previews, maybe get into a little post-combine discussion storyline surrounding there. Obviously, you can go to Mr. Spenny Schultz's Twitter if you would like to get expert combine analysis, and if you want to read about Keon Coleman, you should go to his Twitter because there's a lot of Keon Coleman content on our man Spenny's Twitter this weekend. And then we'll do Nick Cantor medley, and we will get on out of here. Baltimore Orioles continue through spring training. We talked about outfield last week. Infield a few weeks ago. Those battles continue to rage on, and maybe we can touch on some of those developments after this is over. But let's talk rotation. Here are the 8 pitchers listed in the rotation section on the Orioles depth chart on their official website, and then we can go from there. Corbin Burns, Kyle Bradish, Grayson Rodriguez, John Means, Dean Kramer, Tyler Wells, Cole Irvin, and Julio Teheran are all on there. Arditti, lay out the Orioles rotation situation as you see it here on March 4th, 2024.
I think obviously including the Bradish injury and the Means injury, it's gonna be Corbin on opening day. They're already getting him slotted and all that stuff to line up. And then Grayson, and then it'll probably be Kramer, Wells, Irvin, or any of those 3 in any specific order. If they want to match up Irvin against, as a lefty, you could do that. But those are the guys. Julio Teheran came in and they signed him late last week, him and Colton Wong. But Teheran looked good. I thought in his one appearance he's made so far, he looked kind of disgusting. His stuff was really moving around a lot. So he could be a long guy, a long reliever. Or if you need a spot start, he can be your guy. But I don't think he'll start out the year in the rotation. But again, Means will be back. He wasn't hurt. It was just they delayed his throwing program a month. So again, he'll be back soon. Bradish is obviously the big one. We don't know what's going to happen with him. He could be 90-day, or he could be done for the year. He could be, I don't know. They said they could see him in August or something like that. I'm standing by. I think he's done for the year. I don't think he'll start. I just think, UCL is torn. He has a tear in his UCL. That's what it's coming down to. So again, we'll see what they do. But we've seen much worse pitchers. We watched Tommy Malone have an opening day start like 4 years ago, I think, during this podcast. So Corbin Burns again is one of the best pitchers in baseball, and having him and Grayson go 1 and 2 is unbelievable. But it's going to be a lot of fun to watch these guys again, especially if they can get Bradish back. Plus, you can always make moves. They have the guys to make trades, and why not go get a Dylan Cease or someone else like that somewhere throughout the year. So the pitching is good. I like it. It could. There's still a chance that it can get better, but I'm intrigued by the rotation right now with the 5 laid out how we did it.
Banks, would those be your 5?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue otherwise. I think it's pretty clear cut. I'm just excited that we're not trying to piece one together here. These are dudes, man. This is I don't know, there's not a breather in there really. Any one of them could go out there and go 7 deep and 4 hits, 2 runs, and give you tough at bats every time you're up there. It's a great place to be. It's a place that I can't remember us being really. I mean, maybe that 2014 team. I felt like we had 2 fringe third starters on that team and not really an ace. There was not much of a breather there. So that's as close as I can think of. But in terms of just pure stuff, couple of these guys have just legit top of the rotation stuff in a way that I've never seen in my lifetime. So, and of course, I don't know, you look all the way down the rotation a little bit, like Grayson's right there in the middle towards the back. And he could be right there with Corbin Burnes is one of the best pitchers in the American League if he kind of has his command. And I mean, we know what his fastball and his changeup brings to the table. It's all there in front of him. So second half of the year last year, he was a stud, and I expect that that's what we're going to see, pretty much from day one here.
Yeah, I mean, I think his continued development is the thing that makes you a little less upset about the Bradish injury and his potential time out. Obviously, when the Corbin Burnes trade was made, the Bradish news was unknown. So the complete celebration of those three guys at the top of the rotation was, euphoric, and deservedly so. And you now hope that Grayson can make that step that he took in the second half of last year. And if he keeps up that pace, he's the perfect guy to have behind Corbin Burnes. But Arditti, I think you made the right point at the end of your comment there. This thing doesn't feel like it's going to be the same rotation at the end of the year because they have way too many pieces to not go out and make a move for a starting pitcher unless they're somehow have a lot of injuries and are out of it and there's no point in making the trade. Like if they are in contention, I don't know how you wouldn't piece together some of the guys they have in the farm system and go get another starting pitcher for a playoff run, especially considering while you have Grayson and Corbin Burnes ready to go right now, do you trust, and then Bradish, a question mark, do you trust those other guys to start postseason games? If John Means is John Means, sure, but he's going to be a question mark for the rest of his career until there's a consistent amount of outings after this injury. And then the rest of the guys there, you just necessarily wouldn't unless they take, major leaps or do whatever. So it feels like they're going to go out and get somebody. And I don't think we need to go down the road of who those names could possibly be. Names could emerge as guys, have good seasons or whatever it may be. And maybe that's what the Orioles are waiting for. It's like, let's not pay this price for Dylan Cease when we can wait. And obviously the premium goes up on trade deadline day, but maybe there's just going to be more options and we can kind of shop around and figure out what we can get. But I think that is going to be the thing behind this curtain of the Orioles the entire year is when do they strike for the next trade? When do they strike for the next piece? And it feels like we'll talk about bullpen next week, but it feels like a bullpen guy and a starting pitcher is clearly what they would need to go get at some point during the year. And we'll see what that is. But as I said, I'm excited to continue to watch Grayson. And even a guy like Dean Kramer, who has been maligned at times during his career, but, had really good moments last year and has become a legit, major league starter, a guy that can sit in a rotation and make starts throughout the year. So, if he can take another little half step or step, then, he continues to give you a really, really good option every fifth day. So.
And I do think he will kind of take that step. And I think that's just a trickle down from Corbin Burnes and what he brings to the team, again, from being on the mound standpoint. And also just again, Corbin Burnes is a guy, he struggled when he came up, early on, I think in 19 or 18 and 19. And obviously put it together. Not to say Kramer hasn't. I mean, Kramer struggled. We've seen it. He's been up and down, and we never really knew what we were going to get with him. But yeah, I think having him kind of right behind Kramer to tell him, hey, here's what you're doing. Here's what I would do. Here's what I did. Blah blah blah. Not just with Kramer, but with all those guys, Wells, Grayson. I mean, nobody else better to learn from than a guy again who's been through the ringer, won a Cy Young, and again has put together, all he does now is put together 30 plus start seasons and 200 innings. So he said, he had a great quote on Coleman and Adam Jones podcast the other day. He was like, give me the ball 30 to 33 times a year. I'm going to get my 200 innings. Just get out of the way. That's what I want. And again, it's been a long time since the Orioles had a pitcher like that. Get the fuck out of my way. Let me throw and let's talk after the game. So I'm very excited. And like you said, there's going to be another name added. I'm confident that they will make a trade. I don't think this is a rotation that they're, like you said, Taylor, Tyler Wells in a playoff game, maybe, but I think they're going to go out and make a trade. This is where the guy we talked about last week, Kyle Stowers, comes into play because all he's doing is hitting the cover off the baseball right now. And again, all these prospects. So who knows? Again, I do think they make a trade, and there's another name in there. I'll go on the record. I don't think Bradish pitches this year. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I eat crow. I just don't see it. But yeah, I think they end up making a move for someone else. But again, it's one of the better rotations in the American League. Again, when you look at it 1 through 5 like that, and Banks, you talked about it. The stuff. I mean, the stuff from Grayson and Corbin together is just very, very gross, and it's going to be fun. And Cole Irvin has looked awesome in spring training. His velocity is up. His fastball is just ducking and diving all over the place. It's fun to watch. And I think, what did he say? He had a quote, I think, after the game where he was like, I want to get back to being a ground ball pitcher. I want more balls on the ground, which obviously every pitcher does. But, that's all he's done in spring training is kind of keep the ball on the ground. So I'm excited to see him, kind of a full year out of him. And again, the rotation, I'm intrigued. And it's not like we've got some young guys and prospects. Like these are kind of proven guys now. Like we pretty much know what they are. So I'm just excited to see them kind of, grab the bull by the horns and try and make this back-to-back AL East titles.
Just feels like they have a lot of professionals in the room.
Yes.
And so many previous Orioles teams, especially in the starting rotation, but I feel like in broken records, we've talked about this at both positional groups where it's like, oh my God, the sort of glut of talent, but a lot of that in the two position player groups is like the young guys coming up. This one, Grayson is obviously sort of the star prospect-ish players, but the rest of these guys are at the point of their careers, and obviously Burns is an all-star, Cy Young caliber guy. But the guys under them, you just have professionals. Like you bring in a guy like, this is what I would think about. Like you bring a guy like Tehran in 3 years ago, and he's maybe like the number 2 starter on the team. Like no matter what he was coming off of. And now he's just an insurance policy on a minor league contract. And I think it's like not a bad insurance policy, but you're not expecting anything from him. And if you get anything from out of him during the year, you're happy. But it's just a lot of professional starting pitchers that can fill roles behind some actual high-level talent. And that's normally what does well as you go out through the course of the season. I mean, you talked about a guy like Cole Irvin. Like that's a guy with 2 170-plus inning seasons under his belt as a major league starter. That's not a bad thing to have just kind of sitting around, in a perfect world with Radish is in, maybe he's not even in that 5. But if he's out, that's a guy you can throw out there and feel like you're in a position to win. So it just goes back to Mike Elias's ability to build a roster in every facet. He just, from obviously what he's done in the minor league system, but also just very smart trades and signings. He pieces together a roster really smartly and is something we haven't had here in a long time from a personnel standpoint. And each week we've done this, I just like look down the sort of the groups we're previewing, and I'm like, God, they're in a good spot. They just continue to be in such a good spot. So we'll see what they do. And I would think they're going to know on Bradish maybe even before they, give the news to the public. Maybe they even know right now, and they will, will obviously prepare for that eventuality with another move, you would think. So
yeah, and I know like last week he's been thrown from 60 feet, 65, 90 feet and stuff like that. And all the quotes sound the same. Oh, he feels good, he looks good, blah, blah, blah. But again, they probably have an idea, and I'm sure they kind of have a deadline on when they need to make this. Because again, now if he does have Tommy John, now you're creeping into, all right, how long into next year is this going to keep him out? So again, it's like, do you kind of just nip this in the bud right now? What do you do? But and then also 2 other guys that we didn't mention, but they're in the minor leagues. Cade Povich came over in the trade deadline a couple years ago, and then McDermott too. Those are 2 guys who I could easily see us seeing them make their debuts this year. Again, not high name, big prospects. They're both top 10 in the Orioles system, but again, 2 guys who were very intriguing, and a lot of scouts like these guys and have live arms. So I'm excited to see them and get in a more extended look at than the couple games in spring training that I've seen in them. But we probably see them to make their debuts this year as well.
Yeah, MLB Pipeline came out with their top 10 or their Orioles, I guess their team prospect list today. Said like 3 things there. McDermott 9th, Povich 10th. Very similar profiles of guys. They're like going to be in AAA. They're both 24, 25. Let me get it in front of me. McDermott's 25. Povich is 23.
I think Povich came over in the deal that brought Cano here. I believe he came over in that deal. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember.
Povich, I think, is a Big Ten guy.
He's a Nebraska guy, I think.
Yep. I was going to say I remembered his name from college.
because one day he tweeted something on like a Saturday, and it was like a sad face, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, here we go! The Orioles made a trade," and he was like, "Nah, Nebraska."
I think he
lost.
went JUCO to there. Yeah, he was a JUCO guy first, and then went to
Yeah.
and had a very truncated career because he was one of his years was in 2020, so he did not.
Yeah.
A full
He was.
season.
Yeah, he came over in the Jorge Lopez trade. I knew it was on the Twins. I couldn't remember who they traded. I completely forgot it was Jorge Lopez. So, Cade Povich and Yennier Cano in that deal. Not too shabby.
Not at all. They keep making good trades. Just to touch on that, rest of that list real quick. Jackson Holiday 1, Basello 2, Cowser 3. I think I say Sam Basello's name wrong, different way every time. Colby Basallo. I just look at it and I just think something different, and I just need to learn how to pronounce his name. Considering we do a podcast about the Orioles. Kobe Mayo, Heston Kershad 5, Enrique Bradfield Jr. 6, Connor Norby 7, Dylan Beavers 8th, Chase McDermott 9th, Cade Povich 10th. There's your top 10.
Who was it?
Very strong.
They've been Jacob Alvin Meyer, one of the Orioles beat guys, and he said, there's a legit chance that we see probably 7 or 8 of these guys in the bigs this year on that list, that top 10. And then he said there's also a chance that all 10 of them start in Norfolk, and he was just like, it's just a crazy group where you can see all these guys up, or all of them could be in Norfolk to start the year. So it's a very talented and deep group. Again, the word of the year for the Orioles is depth. Just depth. They just have it.
Yeah.
All over.
Yeah. I guess I can't see Bradfield starting in AAA, but the rest of those guys could.
Yeah. Maybe he said like 8 or 9 of these guys.
I think he said 8 or 9. He said 8 or 9. Yeah, the tweet just came up as I went to Twitter. So, but still, no. He's right on the money. It's exactly right.
Yeah. Fellow Hoco guy. He knows his stuff. Howard County, stand up.
Banks, any other thoughts on this starting pitching group? Any other name you're excited to look at?
Just it's the embarrassment of riches of sorts again. I know it's not overflowing beyond that 5th spot, but like, come on, man, push comes to shove. Like, yeah, you're going to need beyond that those top of the arm rotations in a series, but who are you trotting out there for to start games? It's really just 3, maybe 4 pitchers. So. We could get worked up about the Tyler Wells thing, and of course the regular season matters, but at the same time, when it comes to like making a true difference and going out and winning a World Series, like give me Corbin Burns, give me Grayson Rodriguez, give me John Means. We'll hope for Bradish. If we don't get them, then so be it. Like, we'll take those dogs to hunt every single day.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
100%.
They couldn't be in a better spot right now, from a lot of different ways, especially with and as we said, the caveat with the move they can clearly make. Going around the rest of spring training a little bit, Mr. Cowser continues to rake 3 homers in spring training. Mr. Stowers, as you mentioned, Arditti, 3 homers in spring training. It's just going to be fascinating. Like I said, I feel like we say the same thing every week, but it's going to be fascinating how they make roster decisions based on how some of these guys are playing.
Mm-hmm. And again, I think I was talking about it with somebody yesterday. Like, they legitimately have 6 starting MLB outfielders right now, like including Stowers, 5 if you want to take him out. But I don't know. And again, I tweeted it and we talked about it, but I was like, I'm just so thrilled that we're not talking about like, well, you got to have Rio Ruiz, you got to have Jahmai Jones up, you got to have Paveleka, Richie Martin have to be in that conversation somewhere. We're so far past that point now, and it's a fantastic thing. Like, well, Chris Owens, is he going to make the team? He could be the 4th guy, and obviously it does get a little complicated now with Mullins coming out of the game today with, I think, right hand hamstring discomfort. Yep. Who really knows about that? Hyde said it was pretty precautionary, but if I'm the Orioles, I don't tempt this at all. Again, we've seen Mullins with the leg injuries last year. Like, it followed him around. Those don't get better, really. So who knows? I think Cowser made the opening day roster today as soon as that happened. So I would give Mullins all the time in the world that he needs.
Couple other just interesting notes, and it's tough. It's funny, we get excited about the positive things in spring training, and then, I'll caveat all the negative things with these are very small sample sizes, which you could make the same exact case for the positive side of it. Ryan McKenna 1 for 14 in spring training here, not helping his case. And Heston Kjerstad 3 for 18, which is actually a more sizable size. But under the Mendoza line for Mr. Kjerstad. Adley also 1 for 9. Hit the, had the first hit of the year, then just as whatever. Save him for the season, Adley. Not worried about the guys that have shown at the major league level, but I think if you're a guy like Heston Kjerstad and you're kind of fighting the rest of these other outfielders for playing time, a little form wouldn't hurt you. I think the Orioles are smart enough not to make decisions on very, very small pieces of evidence, and they're seeing what those guys are doing every day and all the other activities that are happening. So this is, you certainly don't make a decision based on this. It's like, what we talk about during the preseason of football. It's like you're not making a decision based on what happens in those 4 quarters. But, it's game at bat, live at bats, and, getting it done is better than not getting it done.
Yeah, 100%. But they did have him in right field in the game Saturday against the Yankees. He had a nice sliding catch. So, again, it seems like they're trotting him out there a little more and more. But and then I know, obviously, everyone was worried about Craig Kimbrell today. I think he gave up 4 runs, 5 hits in an inning. Again, zero worry about Craig Kimbrell. I mean, the guy's maybe a future Hall of Famer. I don't care what his spring training stats are anymore. I don't. Unless he's throwing 88 miles an hour, then it's okay, maybe we're a little bit worried. Do not care about what happens and with him and his stats here. So,
thanks. Any spring training takeaways so far?
Outfielders are a joke. They're just smashing everything in sight. I mean, it's just the same thing. It's lefties too. It's just these guys don't give a shit. They're just going to mash everything in sight. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Do you guys know who's leading the Orioles in average with the caveat 10 plus at bats in spring training?
I don't know.
Any guesses?
Mountcastle. O'Hearn. No.
Cowser.
I don't know.
It is Tyler Nevin. 444. 8 for 18.
Wow.
8 for 18.
Wow.
Then Maryland native and former Ole Miss Rebel, former lost to Maryland in the 2015 regionals opener at UCLA. Errol Robinson is second, batting 400, tied with Austin Hayes. Both have 10 at bats.
I didn't know he's an Old Mill guy.
I don't know where he went to high school.
Oh, I thought you said Old Mill.
Ole Miss. He went to Ole Miss.
Oh, okay. I was like, I completely forgot that.
High school. He went to St. John's. St. John's. Kevin Plank's alma mater. Rakim Jarrett's alma mater. Anthony Cowan Jr.'s alma mater.
Is that that's LJ Ho's alma mater, I believe, as well. Maybe.
I'll trust you on that one.
He hit a ball off my friend that I think is still going. So
really? Cowser 364, O'Hearn 364. They were right there. Austin Hayes 400 as well. So
yeah, they're hitting.
Good for Tyler Nevin. Doing a nice job. Any other Orioles thoughts before we move on to a quick combine discussion, fellas? Anything you're seeing, Arditti? I know you were very excited about the Rubenstein pictures at Camden Yards.
I was just gonna say we got to talk about David Rubenstein. Hey, we have to talk about John Angelos and that fucking picture of him. Did you guys see the picture of him at the game in the suite? I
missed that. Was that this weekend? I was off the grid a little bit this weekend.
Oh, he is as gray as the day is long. He is. It's incredible how gray he is. And someone else, because I tweeted it out and I said, this guy looks like he stopped using his Just for Men. Someone said, if you found out you were getting, to $1.74 billion in cash, would you dye your hair either? And I was like, you know what? It's a damn good point. No, I'll send that to the group. He looked awful. He was at the game. Golly, he just completely just giving it up. And again, good for him. He can do whatever he wants now. But now I was surprised to see that. But between that and Rubenstein at the game and being at Camden Yards today, looking around, having a good old time, it's he looked like a kid at a playground, just being I'm just gonna go over here, and he was hanging out in the team store. It's nice to see an owner that seems to enjoy baseball now, like, and has pride in his team. So
I am fascinated if this is a guy, and he feels like he's obviously been a long-term fan, but if he's a guy that has like watched the games or gone in the stadium and been like, you know what, if I own this thing, we would tweak that a little bit. We would improve that. We would improve that. And if he's just going to come in and say, all right, like if we're in the next 12 to 18 months, going to get like the full Ravens unveiled, like here's this, what we're doing to Camden Yards, we're doing here to Camden Yards. Like that is totally in play because you're a new owner. You want to do stuff. Now, I think he's going to be smart enough where the Orioles are stunningly in such a good spot personnel wise, where it's like, there's no need to fiddle with that. Like, I don't need to make the new owner moves, but he's such a smart business guy. I would think he's going to look at the stadium and be like, here's all the things we can do to maximize this. And now hopefully those aren't like intrusive changes that change the character of the stadium, but I think he's going to be way too wedded to the history of the place and of the city to do those things. So they feel like they will be done tastefully. You know, I'm going to trust him until I don't, but that is just exciting because while Camden Yards is an incredible baseball experience, you know, there are things that they could easily do to improve. And they have done over the last few years. They've done a few things, but yeah, I'm excited to see what he does there. That I'm just like hoping he just stood at home plate and was like, ooh, okay, there's a little thing. There's a little thing. Because I mean, that's what I would be doing if I was a billionaire and owned the Orioles.
Do you remember when it's probably late season, maybe September, I was pounding my fist on the desk like, hey, we don't need to be talking about extensions right now. Like, come on, man, let's just enjoy the ride. Let's see an extension here. Let's see an extension or two.
That would be the statement. I mean, that would be him making it. Like
that would be it.
In full control, already have negotiated the extensions, and then once you get the control approved, you announce the extensions in quick succession.
Oh my God!
Tremendous.
On the hour
would be a tremendous PR decision.
I
don't know
what if you just line up like 12 extensions? Like,
who's the easiest guy to extend? Who's a not in Boris guy that they can extend? Adley? Is he Boris?
I think it's Adley. Passon just tweeted it out like this week. It was a very interesting. Gunnar and Jackson are Boris and Burns. Yeah. But Passon, let me see. Passon tweeted, and I don't know, like you guys may like have more of an insight, but he tweeted out for a reason, obviously. He said, agent and attorney Dan Vetterlead is joining Wasserman as a senior vice president. Among the clients who will be going with him, Baltimore Orioles star catcher Adley Rutschman. Tweeted that out of nowhere on March 1st. And I'm just like, what did he gain from tweeting that? But like, he made it a point to be like, Adley is going with this guy to the Wasserman, you know, with Wasserman or whatever. So I was like, is that like more of like he's kind of put his feet in the ground being like, I'm not going to go to Boris, or I don't know what that was, but dinner idea.
Well, I don't know where his agent was previously, but that's certainly his agent getting in with a bigger conglomerate. Like Wasserman is like a full-fledged sports and entertainment sort of group, not in like the upper reaches of like CAA or Endeavor or one of those, but it's, you know, it's got a fair amount of heft out there. The guy that heads it is like leading the entire LA Olympics situation, and his father or grandfather is like a legendary Hollywood executive. So there's some more heft there that I don't know anything about Adley's agents. I don't know if he was a part of a different firm, a smaller firm, and he got brought there because he has bigger clients, whatever. But you know, definitely if he got mentioned, he's got to be the guy's biggest client. Or at least the one that has the biggest upcoming contract situation. Maybe that's the angle there. I don't know.
Yeah, and some, I forget who pointed it. They were like, it's pictures of Rubenstein walking around Camden Yards, blah blah blah, doing everything. Like, obviously, he's been very like open about being like, I'm not the owner yet. I'm just being considered by MLB. Like, I can't make any official statement. This feels like we're very close to like. He's on the field today, like, and he's walking around. So, like, it has to be close. Can you imagine if, like, the night before they make the announcement, like, oh, blah blah blah, you know, it's been voted on, it's been confirmed, David Rubenstein, new, you know, head of command or whatever they call it now. And then the next day, before, you know, morning of
the
opening
control,
day,
he's the control person,
control person. But can you imagine if they drop that and then like 6 hours later, like 5 a.m. on opening day, we're getting ready to go from the tailgate, and we get the Adley Rutschman has agreed to an extension with the Baltimore Orioles. I mean, that would set the city on fire. That would be incredible. So I do think we are going to get close to him being fully in control. And then again, from there, it's kind of like, it's the wild, wild west. We don't know what this is like. Like, I don't know. So I think extensions have to be in consideration, but I also want to get your live reaction to the picture I sent to the group chat, Taylor, of the one John Angelos.
Oh, Mr. Casca here in the picture.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Yes.
wow, he looked way different.
Crazy, right?
That's really
Like,
interesting.
He's in public like that too. Again, like you'd think like, I don't know, he would just dye his hair again. Like, because every time you see him, he was like Coach K, where he had the black hair and I don't know. So yeah, I thought that was very interesting. Very, very interesting from what he looks like. So
David Rubenstein's got to be such a kid in a candy store walking around this stuff, doing this.
You see, he was shaking hands with people, him and his wife, who's a babe. Like, they were just walking around the concourse. Like,
spend a little time in Florida at spring training with the team you're about to own. Not a bad gig. Not a bad gig.
What's the best? So cool. So cool. So we're knocking on the door. We're almost there.
Almost there. NFL Combine. Like I said, if you want very detailed player-by-player analysis, and we'll continue to get to that with Mr. Spenny, go just check out his feed and all the stuff that he does, because why would the three of us give NFL prospect breakdowns when we have this guy in our team? So we leave that to Spenny, and then we just riff off of him. Well, a truly transformative experience for our podcast. And we had Spenny when he wasn't with us yet, coming on and talking about the guys, and we just let him go for 35 minutes. Very, very fun. I would say the biggest storyline that we can talk about is just the continued assumption, and this has already been said, that Matt Abike will get a franchise tag if they don't come with an extension. That, like, Adam Schefter just essentially said it offhand today on the McAfee show. The question will be, do they did an extension? And just seeing Eric DeCosta and Ozzie Newsome both in suites watching, which they were both shown during Combine coverage. Any Combine takeaways other than this Xavier Worthy fellow running a 4.21?
He's fast.
The also report came out that he's meeting with the Ravens. He is coming to meet with the Ravens. So
I'm sure no Ravens fans will overreact if they draft a very fast wide receiver late in the first round.
Yeah,
it's just gonna be, you're just gonna get Perryman highlights all over. Like, that's what it's gonna turn out to be. But I saw it on Spenny's. The Eric DeCosta's like reaction to it. Did you see that?
Yeah,
and like timing it, and then like looking up at the board and being like, ooh, okay. So that was funny, but that was the most. That was all the Combine I watched. That and like the Chris Mortensen thing at the end. But
R.I.P. Chris Mortensen. Very sad.
Real one. A real
Schefter, we have ESPN on at work, and Schefter was saying that Mortensen texted in their, like, I guess they have a group chat with ESPN reporters, texted on Saturday or whatever night, and was like, hey, whatever, normal stuff. And then he like woke up to the news the next morning they passed away. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
like there were so many times where I was prepared for this to happen because Chris had gone through the health issues and all those different things. And then this was not a time I was expecting it. So very sad.
Yeah, it's tough.
Sounded like a genuinely good guy based on all of the things people said in the media.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was my Combine takeaway. I didn't watch anything.
Banks?
I saw the video, actually. I'm sorry. I saw the video of Penix throwing in the hotel, like over like the open balcony. That was very funny. I like that, but that's all I got.
I'm trying to find one of Spenny's. I just want to like advertise Spenny's draft takes. I guess not that anybody on this show doesn't know about this, but I can't find anything that's like one of his like better ones. It'll take me too long to scroll. It's so fun. I was at a wedding this weekend, so I didn't and I was consuming the content, the Combine through more of a Maryland lens, so I wasn't like getting into everything. And so last night I just went to Spenny's feed and just scrolled it. I was like, I'll know all I need to know if I just read this. If I just read his feed,
you just have to go to his feed at like 3:30 a.m. and he's just like
just ripping
them
off takes,
going at
it. So that's how that was my consumption of the combine. So I suggest everyone else do the same. We'll obviously have NFL draft coverage as we roll too. We'll do the live shows again. Those were very, very fun last year. I'm sure we'll line up some guests and everything for that when that happens. That was a great time. So that will be upcoming, and I'm sure they'll dive into it more on the Jumbo set this week as well. Nick Kenner Medley, Maryland Person of the Week, Monsieur Banks.
Skip. I just come on back.
There you go. It looked like a skip day, and I just love getting you to skip. Arditti.
Yeah, it was just I'm not even gonna try to work my way around it. I'll come back. Come on back.
It's LeBron. It's 40K.
I knew this is where you were gonna go. When I saw that the other day, I said we are definitely gonna talk about this.
That's all that needs to be said. 40K. I don't know how you can really dispute anything anymore. 40K. He's the best. He's the GOAT.
What are your thoughts on the Lakers' overall chances to contend this year with Mr.
Listen. It's not great. They'll make the play-in. Probably sneak into the playoffs, but listen, we're celebrating LeBron right now, okay?
They are 33-29. They're currently 10th in the West.
Hey, but at least they didn't lose by 50 the other day with Steph bouncing the ball off his fucking head
that was tough.
And then throws up 4 points and then has a dud of a game.
They're 5.5 games up on the Jazz for 10, so they're definitely going to be in the plan. They're a game and a half back of Dallas for the 8s. Oh, I guess 7 through 10. They are 2.5 games back of Sacramento for the 6th seed. Gets them out of the playing games.
Yeah, they're making it. If you don't think that
by the way, the playing games would be electric right now. It's Phoenix, Dallas, Golden State, and the Lakers. Ooh, that is tremendous. Yeah, Durant, Luca, Steph, and LeBron. And then obviously all the supporting cast, your Devin Bookers, your ADs, your Draymonds, all these Kyrie. I mean, that is tremendous. The NBA's got to be like, drop Sabonis and those guys back into the plan so we can get one of those teams guaranteed in a 7-game series. But OKC currently a half game up on Minnesota for the 1 seed. Shai Gilgeous. This has got to be the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander breakout year situation. Like, gets in the playoffs and everyone's like, oh my God, what was I? When was I? He's so good. He's so good.
Yeah, but that's what it's going to be. It's going to be like, oh, where'd this guy come from? And it's like, he's actually been a very good player for a couple years.
He's awesome. Tremendous. He's one of the best 10 players in the league. He's an MVP.
Chet's awesome.
Chet is awesome. Wembanyama's San Antonio Spurs are 13-48. Tough year for them. Very, very tough year for them.
4 more wins than the Wiz Kids. So,
my Nick Cantor Medley Maryland Person of the Week is anybody on a Southwest flight that does the departure off the deplaning in the proper fashion, which is most citizens. But if you're one of these people that storms up to the front when you were like C-15 and tries to get off the plane quickly and doesn't go row by row getting off the plane, you deserve to go to jail.
Hell.
Do it correctly. Don't run off the plane. Can't have it. Flight this weekend coming back from Florida. Someone's runs up. Woman tries to get her bag off the plane. She almost drops it on the one behind her who shouldn't have been there because she shouldn't have been deplaning at that point. Woman got mad. Was like, why are you trying to drop your bag on me? Guy next to her. It's like, you shouldn't have been there. And they get into a little kerfuffle. Not a fight, but like a little argument. It's like, I told the guy you were right for saying that. Shouldn't have been there. She should not have been up there. Just do it right. You choose to sit in the back of the plane or you choose to not check in on time and get C-15. Sorry.
Tough.
Sorry. It's tough. It's tough. Sit in the back. Had enough of it. It's an epidemic.
You're right.
Let me tell you, we have a passenger problem in this country. People doing things wrong at the airport. It's a huge issue. We got stuck in Orlando. Orlando's like the worst security situation, among the worst security situations in the country. All these people traveling, it's kids. They don't have a big enough security. Someone stuck their bag in with the wheels out towards the x-ray machine. It got stuck in the middle of the x-ray machine. It caused an 8-minute delay. Like, what are you doing?
That's just people being dumb.
The security line was maybe the worst
it's just
portion
one of the
of
great
the entire thing.
inefficient. It's one of watching people be incredibly inefficient with their movements of how they're putting their things in is truly stunning. And honestly, if it's someone that's never flown before, you should have to take a course before you go to the airport of how to go through security.
Driver's ed for airport security.
It's huge. So many people, it's because people don't travel and they don't know what to do. Just
Mhm.
you have to watch a video before you come to the airport. You will not get your ticket until you watch the video.
I like that.
I think it would make things easier. So
That's never seen.
so to most people that are honorable and do it the right way, go through things the right way, I applaud you. To the people that don't, like, figure it out. The security thing is brutal though. People just like not doing the bins right, taking their shoes, and then getting to the end and like grabbing all their stuff, not letting the bins just come through and just starting to grab their stuff. And then not putting their not taking their bins off and helping the TSA people out. I could go on this forever.
The worst.
I could go on this forever. So I just want to give a shout out to the people that do it right. And there are so many of those people. And to them, I thank them. So thanks.
I suppose I'll go with one, and I don't know, maybe it's a little controversial, but like at the beginning, because that's off. There's been ups and downs with the guy. Very interesting way that this is played out, but the guy did score maybe the biggest goal in Washington Capitals history. He was a great player for a lot of the years he was there. I mean, he scored a Game 7 game winner against the Islanders one year too. People forget all about that one.
Shut down the building. Was that one?
No, well, yeah. I think it was that series.
I think it was.
But it was at home.
Okay.
The goal that he scored.
That's right.
But I don't know, man. It's just one of the weirder trajectories where, I mean, he's a good player. I don't know that he was like top of the game by any means, but he was a goal, a point a game kind of guy for a couple of years. The potential was all there. And when he had it going, he was awesome to watch. I mean, a little spinneramo pass, whatever you want to call that. You got the wave, and I don't know, he's into drugs or whatever he's into, or he might just be a bad guy. I don't even know. He's just very mysterious, but man, it's been a little bit sad to, when you get a good run from a group of guys, like you can't expect that they're all going to go out together and it's going to go out smoothly and what have you. But it's been a little bit of a thud here between like Backstrom with his hip and everything, and Kuznetsov with his issues. And I mean, Ovi's obviously just plowing forward and has picked it back up the last couple months. And I don't know, John Carlson's in there too, and he's kind of like, he's just not who he was. That's to be expected.
She's still hanging around.
Yeah, and he's constantly in and out of the lineup. It's a little bit sad to watch. And obviously that team is just repeatedly giving false hope to this fan base that anything's going to happen with this season. But regardless, shout out to Kuznetsov for some great moments and a Stanley Cup we'll never forget. And bon voyage, I suppose, up to Hershey or wherever he's going.
Yeah, he's going. They get loaned to Hershey after clearing waivers.
Yeah, that's him carving up some folks in Hershey.
I feel like we obviously don't really talk about the Caps on this, and the three of us are varying levels of Caps fan. I would say you guys are paying way more attention than I am. But they're and we may have talked about this recently at some point. They're in a really, but it may have been offline. They're in a really weird spot. They are essentially right now a vehicle for the Ovechkin goal scoring record. And the question will be, do they just try to will Ovechkin to the record over the next year? He had started the year horribly. He's had a last good 3 weeks, I think, or at least went through a stretch where he was, was doing pretty well. And they can still sort of sell tickets and market off of that. And whenever that happens, that will be a huge deal. Will it happen to, it'll be kind of like the Bonds thing. Like, when will it happen? When will it happen? But yeah, like the older core. I mean, they have Ovechkin who's 38, Oshie's 37, Backstrom who's obviously out right now 36, Carlson 34, and even Kuznetsov is a sneaky 31. Like he was such like a young dynamo type of player for a while, and he's now 30 plus. And obviously, you can play hockey at a high level for a long time, but he clearly has some struggles, which is preventing him to do that. They're just in a very weird spot as a team, and can they really win with this going on? They have Wilson locked up long term. I wouldn't like. Do they have a ton of young, exciting players? Not really. They're in like purgatory. They're a little bit in purgatory right now.
Yeah,
like
and you can't.
They're in the spot of the NBA where you don't have a top 5 pick, so you can't get a game changer. So you're picking between they're
the Wizards.
Yeah, they're the better, but they have Ovechkin, so they're not the Wizards because they have Ovechkin, so they have something to come for every night, and they have other guys that are great. I mean, you can go watch Oshie, you can go watch some of the other guys, but like they are in the Wizards are in a worse spot because the Wizards are a total disaster.
There's nobody to go there for.
They're the Wizards when they had Beal, and it's like, all right, we have a legitimate a good player who you would pay a little bit.
Their issue is like. They're not going to bottom out while they're still going for this with Ovechkin.
Because they can't. They need to be able to be competitive.
How do you thread the needle and like time? How can you get out in front of a rebuild that's going to be on the other side of that and shorten the rebuild by trying to do some things and feed the pipeline now so that, I don't know, let's just say
kind of hit the ground running.
Late 2025, early 2026 is when the record gets broken. Like how do you get back to being a playoff team in the 2028-29 season? Like how do you position yourself to get back to that
spot? Long way away. I mean
but that's what it takes for the 2 years left for him to go get this thing done.
And that's kind of what they're doing. They also that's, I guess, when they would open the new arena around that timeline you're talking about, if they move the team there, which there's still some things going on there. But so they need those teams to be competitive if they move the arena. So Ted Leonsis is in a weird spot with both of his teams. He is in a very, very weird spot. But yeah, the Caps are just a weird franchise right now because, and I don't even know who the hardest core Caps fan is in my life, but they're not bad enough where people, I guess, are not freaking out about it, but they're also frustratingly not good. They just sit, whereas the Wizards are freak out bad. Like I watched them last week. We had them on playing Golden State, me and my roommate, for 10 minutes, and it was like, this is horrible. I mean, we went to that Phoenix Suns game, Banks, and we were watching a G League game in the third quarter because they were down 40 and the Suns had put all their, backups in, and it was just what is this product? Like, why are we here? So I don't know. Both those teams, but the Caps are currently 7 games out of the final wild card spot. I don't know.
They're 7 points out, and their shortest path is to get the 3rd spot in the Metro, which is 6 points.
That's right. Yeah.
They got some games in hand.
They have a -33 goal differential.
That's the thing that jumps out to me. That's like frauds. They're just gigantic fraud. I mean, they stole so many games in the first couple months of the season.
They at times, I will look at the ESPN app if I haven't watched any of it and be like, oh man, they lost 5-2. Like, there's a lot of that.
How about the Sharks down there, though?
Wow.
Well, Blackhawks are pretty terrible too, but you see that triple-digit negative goal differential.
The Blackhawks at least have the hope with Bedard or whatever. So Golden Knights struggling a little bit.
Yeah, they're just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, I mean that's fine.
They'll be fine.
Won a title.
They're gonna make a big trade like they always do.
Let me tell you what, the NHL must be absolutely loving the Panthers with 86 points, and the Winnipeg Jets with 83. They've got to be loving that potential Stanley Cup matchup.
Huge ratings.
God, the TV partners are like, where are all these teams? I guess they do have
Florida. Vegas was the final last year.
Yeah. I guess at least Vegas has had just like a nice run, but man, like Winnipeg, Florida would be. I mean, the big market teams.
Honestly, that entire division, the Central Division, is just a big yawn fest in terms of just markets.
Yeah,
Chicago pulling up the rear.
They can't even get any of these Canada teams to at least like get the Canada like they need like they can't get the Maple Leafs in there. They like just can't. The
Toronto is decent this year. I mean, Austin Matthews going the fuck off.
Their problem is if the NHL should just do away with the conferences and then just hope they can get like a Flyers Rangers Stanley Cup. Like they need something like that because the Western Conference just doesn't have, A-side markets for hockey. They just don't. There's not, except for the Blackhawks, and I mean Minnesota. People love their hockey, but I guess the Blues are historic and they have some of the Canada teams and you have the Kings in LA, but it's San Jose and Anaheim and Arizona and Seattle, Dallas. It's like not unbelievable, but what a talking hockey segment this has become as we our
Thatcher Demko, number 1 in the league in wins.
Ugh.
Little weapon.
That guy was incredible in that one game we had watched against the Knights.
Freaking whole series.
Yeah. A thorn in your guys' side when your fandom was questioned. one of the all-time moments of my COVID.
I think that may have been in a different year actually, but
those were in 2 different years. You're right. Those were in 2 different years. You're right.
There was a little bit of tilt, which was the entire point, to be honest, is some of the boys just haven't been down in the depths of despair that comes with playoff hockey.
Yeah.
That was them showing their true colors, the kind of colors that they laughed at for years.
Yes, that is true. Can you guys name who's leading the NHL in goals?
Yeah, I just named him like 90 seconds ago.
Yeah, Matthews, right?
I wasn't even listening. I was reading.
He's going the fuck off. Austin Matthews.
53 goals.
He's gonna break Ovi's record. Like Ovi's gonna have the record for like 5 years.
He is so good.
Matthews gonna run out of steam in his mid-30s.
He's 26.
He's a human.
Doesn't have the Russian gas.
So that was tough, but it's an interesting they're an interesting organization to talk about, the Caps, because they're just in a very, very unique spot with what they are trying to do with Mr. Ovechkin. So, anything else you guys would like to touch on before we get out of here?
I'm excited for full swing in 2 days.
That's right.
Did you watch the Netflix Cup at all, or whatever it was? Netflix.
I saw one highlight from. I saw one highlight of Nadal saving a match point with a disgusting shot down the line.
Ooh, do you want to address your boy's golf swing?
That was tough. It did not look good. Now, I don't have a lot of room to talk because I don't have a great golf game, but it wasn't like I would have assumed it would have been better just based on what I saw. I didn't actually watch the video. I just saw the screenshot you sent. Was it a video or was it just the screenshot?
It was a video.
Oh, I didn't look at the.
I would say the position there is pretty indicative of what it looked like.
What it looked like. Let me here. I'll watch it live because we haven't.
It really okay. I'll just let you watch it live.
Here we go.
It did.
I'll turn the sound on. Oh my! He liked it though. That was a quick tee pickup.
Very quick tee pickup. So he's got the sauce.
I mean, he talked to his guy, Mr. Rom, about a short backswing. This club does not get back very far. He's just hitting. You're right.
It's a two-hand. It's two-hand backhand. That's all it is.
Yeah, he's just getting through it. What is happening on my phone now? Yeah, very quick. He's very quick as well. But I mean, Nadal does everything with power. He's such a good athlete. He makes it work. But glad to see him playing a little competitive tennis. He cannot have much left. Rafa. Maybe I would love one more run at a French and then call it quits if he can win it. And Djokovic looks a little down. Djokovic looks a little down, so maybe he can figure out a way to roll through the younger guys and a more pared down Novak and get one more. But his body looks so destroyed.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone play tennis like Alcaraz. It's just disgusting.
And what's crazy is he's so otherworldly talented, and he has such a long way to go to get to what those three guys did. I mean, he's 20 and he has 2 Grand Slams, and Djokovic is out here at like 36 and he's still winning them. I mean, it's just like that would mean we'll be watching Alcaraz when the three of us are like almost 50. If he's still able to rip them off, which is kind of crazy. But freaking Novak. That was talking tennis. Gents, it was an absolute pleasure as per usual. I was going to come back at the end and plug the tailgate again, but as was mentioned at the top of the show, no more tickets. We can't wait to see everyone coming out for the tailgate opening day. We'll have the pod going. Lots of fun to be had. And then hopefully a great opening day game as well. You can follow us on social media, X52 Podcast, all of your social media platforms at EDITTI22 for Arditti, at Barstool Banks, at Taylor Smyth 10, at Jake Louque, LOUQUE, and at Ravens 4 Dummies for Spenny. The number 4 between Ravens and Dummies. Make sure to like and subscribe the pod on all of your different platforms. Make sure to hit the subscribe button on YouTube as well. Video content coming from there. And obviously all the pods get dropped on there as well if you would like to look at us in video form, which I'm sure many of you do, because, I mean, why would you not? We will see you next time on the Exit 52 podcast presented by Jimmy's Seafood.